everyone, and welcome. This is Alex here of Advice by Alex podcast. I want to thank you very much for stopping by and giving me a listen to. Long time with the podcast, I know. So I do apologize with taking a bit of time to be able to get into the podcast and everything like that. So, but yeah, so I hope you all are doing absolutely positively fantastic and everything of that nature. And thank you for bearing with me. There's just been a lot going on in my world and everything like that, where I was not able to record for a while and things like that. So I do apologize, but I am back. I do have plenty of ideas for some upcoming shows, which will still incorporate the Angels, so don't worry, everybody. But I do have some nice little ideas, I should say. I had to think about that for a minute, in regard to upcoming podcasts and things of that nature. So we shall see in regard to what it is that we shall do for that and everything like that. So, but hopefully overall you all are having an absolutely fantastic week and everything like that, and that this week is really, really good for you and everything like that. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Yes. So, but hopefully overall everybody is doing absolutely well and they've had a fabulous week thus far. We are getting closer and closer to Halloween already. If you can believe it or not, we're almost there, about a little over a week away from Halloween and everything like that. I do have Halloween plans. I'm going to be with my bestie and we're going to be passing out Halloween candy and all that jazz for the kiddos. And of course, watching our own scary movies. And we do plan on that weekend to go to the movies and see either The Conjuring, the last movie of The Conjuring, or we will see Black Phone 2, which I am excited about. I've heard many good things, and I know that it was number one in the box office when it was released here in the U.S. So that was really exciting for that opening weekend. I'm sure that the cast and director and the studio is very happy with that, since they probably put a lot of time and effort into the movie and things of that nature. So that is really good and things of that nature. So I am really excited and everything like that. So that is really exciting stuff right there. So that's kind of like our thing. And then we may check out the Switchy store that is in that area where my bestie is now. Because obviously she recently moved and she went from an apartment to a house. So that is very exciting. I'm super excited for her with this transition and everything like that. So that is really, really exciting. But yeah, so today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, but I will get into that in a little bit. But first, a couple of announcements. So if you have not already checked it out on my YouTube as well, which is Advice by Alex on YouTube, it is where I posted the podcast special for the month of October, which is the 1010 Energy Portal reading that is tailored to you. Basically, it's like a mini read, but it is where you get that you get angel messages, you get cards, and you're allowed 2 questions as well to be answered during that. So, and if you'd like that special, it is for a total of $40. Just email me at T as in Tom, Artman, ARTMAN, 21 at yahoo.com with the podcast special in the subject line. I'll send you a PayPal invoice, you pay it. Or if you like to do like Cash App or something like that, just let me know. I'll leave all that information in the description box below as well. So that is very, very much exciting stuff right there and everything of that nature. So I'm quite excited about that special because that is very exciting. I really need to get a hop on and move on with the 1111 energy portal because that is what we're going to be doing next month because I've already thought about it, and I will do the 1111 special as well. So that is quite exciting and things of that nature. So that is where that is at. And then, of course, if you'd like to get an angel reading with me, you can check me out on my Etsy page at Angel Soul Blessings 777, and then you can get a wide variety of different readings on there. So, but also, if you'd like to submit a question to the podcast, it can be either a reading question or a spiritual question. You can fill out the form in the link below in the show's notes, and you will be able to submit that question if you've been wanting to get a reading with me or just pick my brain on a little subjects. I've been doing this for a while, over 15 years now. And so I know I've seen a thing or two because I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two, and everything like that. But I started like everybody else in the spiritual world. I had no idea what a lot of the things were. I may have known some things, but I didn't really understand them. So it was a growing experience, and that is for everybody starting their spiritual journey. And I want to help others embark on their spiritual journey, which is why I've created this podcast for jumpstarting your spiritual journey and everything like that. So, yeah, so come along with the ride and everything of that nature. So, but I believe that's all the announcements that I have for right now. So we'll get in here to the card of the week. I'm going to actually, shockingly enough, I am going to use a different deck. It is the Kyle Gray Angel Prayers Oracle cards. And just a moment here while I shuffle. Alrighty. So what does everybody need to know for the week of what is... I just did the readings the other day, the 20th, the week of October 20th. So what does everybody need to know for the week of October 20th, 2025? Oh, beautiful. Well, I was not expecting that, but that is basically the theme of the week, which is all about new beginnings. So, and I talk about this in the podcast in the weekly in greater depth, and also the new moon energy that we just had yesterday. So, that is where that is at. So this is all about new beginnings. Thank you, angels, for coming up, or thank you, angels, for opening up the door to change. I am ready. So that is absolutely fantastic. And this is that new energy that we've been talking about. If you've been watching my videos for a while, and then, you know, I've been talking about new energy coming in. This is that new energy that is coming in. And this is those new beginnings that are coming in, and everything like that. So, they're also saying that it's all about having a little bit of caution, with the new, opportunities that are coming in, which is absolutely fabulous, but not to overlook the finer details is what I'm hearing. So review, reflect, and then you can take that action step and jump, is what I'm hearing very strongly. Especially since we'll be going into Mercury retrograde starting in November. I don't remember the exact day. For that, I'll just have to do a whole shenanigan of what a Mercury retrograde is in that time for the podcast and everything like that. So, but that is kind of the energy of the week, all about new beginnings and insight and everything like that. So that is pretty cool that it happened to pop up with that. So with this episode, it is I'll be doing an episode with the angels again. Yes, and everything like that. But I wanted to do a special little episode. It's been on my mind to do, especially for those that don't know me. And this is a great episode to get to know me on a deeper level. And this is a great interaction. So if you would like to know more about me and you would like a part 2 of this, you can leave that information in the comment section below. And then you can have your opportunity to ask me what it's like being a medium and what it is like delivering messages and things like that. So today is all about a little interview with myself. So I am actually quite excited about this and things of that nature, because a lot of people don't know what a medium actually is and what it is that we do. So we'll just go here and dive into the topic for the week and everything like that. So, which is all about me. I don't like to have the ego, of course, but it is learning about me, basically. So, getting to know your host, basically. So when did you first realize you were a medium? Is the first question. It was funny. I kind of asked ChatGPT to come up with like an interview format for myself and like what questions people would actually want to know about what it is like being a medium. And then this is what the first question was. So this is a really roundabout way of doing it, but I actually did not know that I was a medium growing up. I had no idea what I could do was special, and I had no idea that what I could do was different than other people, because I thought everybody could see spirit and hear angels and talk with angels and see angels, because I was able to see angels. And I was also, whenever we were like in church and things like that, I would see angels around people in church and things like that. So sometimes it would be like a flash or just like a knowing that they were there. When I was really younger, I was able to visualize more, but as I got older, it was more about that knowing. And it's a different way of communicating and things like that, because I first started sensing them when I was really young, probably about 4 or 5, is when I was able to see that. I can't remember exactly but it was around that time frame. And I remember always, I was really scared of sleeping in bed by myself, just because I felt that I wasn't alone. And that really was exactly why I was like really like, oh my gosh, that is where I felt like people were always around me when I was alone in my room at night. And I also was able to see like the shadows and things like that when the lights were off. So it would scare me. So I would always want like one of my parents to be with me. So and that is exactly where exactly where, oh my goodness. And that is exactly where I didn't realize that was like a thing. I thought all kids were able to have these experiences, as I like to call them, when I was younger, and things of that nature. My parents are very intuitive themselves, I will say. They can be, especially my dad. And I think I've inherited my gifts from him. But my dad is very scared of his gifts. So that is something very different between my dad. I've learned to embrace them, which was a journey in itself, but my dad was definitely scared of his gifts, and still is, and things of that nature, which is where I feel like it's more of a catalyst for the next lifetime for my dad opening up spiritually. But in this lifetime, I don't think he will fully open up, but I think that's why I'm there to help him bridge that little gap and help in that process. So, and for my mom too, as well. But, going back to the question, that was like a little bit of a roundabout way of saying that, but that was like kind of when I was first noticing that. And then I started to have, some experiences when I was in my teenage years of when I had, a couple of family members that passed away that are near and dear to my heart, in my high school years. And, when my grandpa on my dad's side, we called him Bear. That was our nickname for him. When he passed, we had this little bear in our bathroom. There's no windows or anything like that in the bathroom. There's only like a skylight in the bathroom, but that doesn't open. So, at my parents' house and things like that. So it's like just like a little, a vanity, by the sink and everything like that, like right next to where my sink was, because I shared a bathroom with my sister growing up and everything like that. So, that was like one of those things. But there was like a little stuffed bear there. There was like a decorative kind of thing back in the day, and everything like that. So, that was there. But at times, I would walk into the bathroom and I would notice that it would fall, in on the sink. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this was after he passed. And I can get into that story as well, is because of the fact that weeks before, that he passed, which I always felt to this day, is where he was saying goodbye to me, because I feel like that was like, as we all know, we have that window of opportunity before we pass. It is where, I might get emotional during this episode. I didn't think I was, but sharing it is still very emotional for me. But it was where, I did Taekwondo as a kid and things like that. I went all the way up to black belt, and one time my parents couldn't take me, so, for whatever reason, I don't remember. So my grandpa took me, and it was me and him by ourselves. And, that was where, he watched me, and then we were talking in the car, on the way home. I could tell that he was proud of me and things like that. But, yeah, so, and, he was so excited about the upcoming summer, because it was like going into this just the beginning of summertime, close to it. And he was, talking about how much fun it would be at the lake this summer, where we have our family condo, and everything like that. And he was looking forward to spending time with the family. And and during that moment, and especially afterward, when I reflected upon it, uh, I like in the moment I sensed it, but I didn't quite understand it. But afterward, when I reflected upon it, especially when I was older, I realized that my intuition and my mediumship was picking up that that was his way of saying goodbye to me, and spending that quality time with me with his time left and everything like that. So that was where it was basically, and then my second grandpa, it was basically and then when the day that he died, I felt really something that was really off in the morning, and I didn't know what it was. I was like, why do I have this off feeling this morning? It was Memorial Day weekend. It was actually on Memorial Day, which is why I never am a fan of Memorial Day anymore. But it is where I woke up and I was like, something's off about this day. And then it was actually it was the day before. I had really wanted to see my grandpa and my grandma, especially my grandpa though, at breakfast, because we always, back in the day, we used to have breakfast together as like a family thing. Like every weekend, we would go to this restaurant that used to be like a little diner, and everything like that. And it would just be like a family kind of a thing with the grandparents and everything like that. Now it's a little bit more complicated. There's a lot more dynamics in our family, and everything like that as it's grown, obviously, as everybody grew up and got married and had kids of their own. So it's a little bit more challenging. Back in the day when we were just kids, it was a lot easier, in that regard. So, but yeah, so I wanted to see him really bad, but for whatever reason we weren't able to, and it wasn't able to work out. And then that Sunday, it was basically that. So, that is there, and everything like that. So, and also with, that, it was basically where, oh my goodness. It is basically where I, knew that something was wrong, but then we got the call that he had a heart attack, and then he was rushed to the hospital, and then they tried working on him, but obviously he didn't make it, so he passed and he crossed over to the other side. And that was definitely a very challenging day because that was my first experience with that type of thing, and things of that nature. So, that was very real to me, as a kid, because I just finished my freshman year of high school. And then the second person in high school that passed was my grandpa on my mom's side, and I wasn't really surprised by that one because of the fact that we were all preparing for that, because it was known that he would pass. It was just the waiting of when. Actually, around this time, I believe, sometime in October, is actually Happy Angel Anniversary, Papa, and things like that. So this one is called Papa, and that I nicknamed him, and my grandma has a nickname Bubba because of the fact that as a kid I had a hard time pronouncing grandma and grandpa, so I just said Bubba and Papa, for that one, and then on my dad's side, it was Bear and Nana. So it was basically like that, and it just kind of became adaptive over the years. So, but yeah, so that is one of those things and stuff like that. So, I think it was actually around this time too, and everything like that. So I can't remember the exact day. I'll have to ask my mom about that. But yeah. So, but anyway, it is basically that kind of thing, and stuff like that, and it's just hard to believe. And then after that, it was my aunt on my mom's side that passed away suddenly as well. And then even in my high school years, I had a dream that they were all together on the other side, and they were like on like a park bench or something like that. I can't remember, but they were like, no, they were on a couch in my grandma's room, and I'm so sorry, everybody. Alexa is interrupting. I forgot that I was going to go off. I do apologize, everybody. But it was basically where that was and things like that. So, but yeah, so that is just kind of like where that was. And then, of course, I didn't really understand this stuff when I was in high school and everything like that, especially growing up in a religious family. It was definitely really hard as well. But I think it's done. But my spiritual mentor, who I met in college, it reunited me, and that's kind of like where I had my spiritual experience and then my spiritual awakening, one of them, and that is where that is and stuff like that. So that is kind of one of those things and stuff like that is where I really just was learning everything about what it is to be a medium. Did I accept it right away? Sort of. I definitely dived in and I was learning a lot about different things. I was watching a lot of different things. But I did have that running away period as well from it because I didn't want it. And I was just scared of it, actually. So I kind of ran back to the religion part and things like that where I was comfortable. But the spirit has a funny way of pulling you back in. And then once I came back to the world, that's when I had like a aha moment. And it was also where I had another deeper spiritual awakening after I met my twin flame, and then after they left and things like that. So I dived deeper into spirituality, and then I dived deeper in my own healing journey, and things of that nature. So I really was very adamant about learning about healing and things of that nature. So, and it took me down the healing path. So, and that's where I learned where I wanted to do this and where I wanted to help other people. And also, it was just recently where I was having a conversation with my guides and Archangel Michael and God. I was like, if you want me to do this, I surrender to this path, God, and I will only want to deliver healing messages. I want to help other people. And where I want you to open the path for me and to open the doors for this to grow and things like that. So I did have that conversation recently. I was like, yes, this is my path, and this is what definitely makes me happy. And no matter if I am doing a 9 to 5, this is truly what makes me happy. And just like a feeling, like it brings me peace and it's just like a part of who I am. So, and that's kind of like the answer in a very roundabout way. I know that was quite long, but you got a lot of different stories out of that question. Well, I already answered the second question is, did you accept it right away? No, I did not accept it right away. I will say a little bit of that was where, since I grew up religious in a Christian household, I was caught in between two worlds where I didn't know how to distinguish both. And then I learned to accept that I'm more spiritual um, and everything like that. I respect how I grew up because it taught me values and everything like that with my religion. And I still do practice it on occasions and things like that. I haven't been to church really in like a really long time, but usually the last either a wedding or a funeral is what I go to for that. But just where that kind of is, and just started accepting that more of a spiritual person. But I can be spy religious because you hear me call spirit as God, which is God, and then I will say heaven, the other side, universe, and things like that. They're all incorporated, but I just whatever it is where I am in the moment, I will say, and things like that. So, but it took me a while to accept it, and things like that. And I think it's hard for me to like. It was hard for me to believe like I'm very much relate to Teresa Caputo and this and like a lot of mediums where they talk about it. Like, how is this real? How do I have this ability? Others are going to think of me as kind of like a woo person, but it was just basically a part of me. And everybody can do this. It just, some are more skilled at it than not. So, but that kind of leads into the third question. What does it actually feel like to connect with spirit? So I have a wide variety. I am able to use all my clairs that I have, but I do have stronger clairs over others. So I feel clear knowing is one of my more, or claircognizance is one of my ones that are very strong, which is like a knowing. And then also there is or I have noticed that recently my clairvoyance has started to pick up, where I've noticed when I've been doing readings, I can see flashes of things and images, which is exactly how I used to see spirit growing up, which is where I would see flashes and shadows and silhouettes, and I still do see shadows at times, but I have that, I can turn it on and off when I want to, and things like that. And spirit knows when I am ready and open to work, and which is where you usually hear me say that speech at the beginning of either a reading or the weekly or things and stuff like that. It's just my sign to spirit that I'm ready to work, and they know that by now. I've established that boundary with my spiritual team. So yes, could I sense things? Absolutely, but whether or not you choose to work with it at that moment, because you could be like, "Hey, I'm busy right now." It's where that is, but it honestly, it's not like how Hollywood describes it, where you'll see or where there's lights flashing, although that can happen with energy when you're working with energy, as I am an empath as well. But when spirit is there, they may have that energy to get your attention with flashing of lights and everything like that. And I was just watching something on TV the other day, last week, actually, where they were talking about like this haunted place that you can visit and stay at and things like that on the news. And then as soon as they were talking about that, my lights were like flickering. I'm like, okay, that place is definitely very haunted, and things like that. So, it kind of got my attention, and everything like that. But once I acknowledged it, it was fine. But I was like, I know if I went and stayed there, which I would love to do, is where, that is there. But, yeah, so that is, where that is at. And it's just kind of like a knowing, or sometimes you'll hear messages, like little, snippets sometimes when you're connecting with spirit. You'll see flashes sometimes, and then, sometimes they'll put you to music as well. So it's a bunch of different spirit language that you develop over years of knowing when it feels like. But it is very peaceful and things like that. So now if you're going to like a haunted location, yes, that can feel like it's a little bit heavier because there may be things that have happened there where it has that residual energy of like something negative that happened there. And then it might be a little bit heavier of an energy, just because they may not know that there is there, and they have that unfinished business in that place, which some mediums are very good at, crossing over spirits to the other side. I like to deliver healing messages, so I don't usually go on that path, but I have come across spirit at places where I visited that are definitely haunted, and things like that, and I felt it, and things like that. So, but and a great example of that in Ohio is the place where they filmed Shawshank Redemption, the prison, the Mansfield Reformatory. There we go. Mansfield Reformatory is definitely haunted. We definitely picked things up there when I visited this year and things like that. So yes, definitely always be prepared when you go to those places. Definitely bring crystals and things like that to protect your energy, and just set the boundaries as well when you are there. But yeah, so it's kind of not like Hollywood, how Hollywood portrays it, although there are certain things that can actually happen where they can turn things off, and then I've seen things move and things like that. So it takes a lot of energy for that to happen, and it's not all the time that they do that. But does it freak me out? Absolutely. Even though I have seen it and I know what is happening, and just where we're human, we have that oh my gosh kind of moment. So yes, that is definitely very much there. So the next one here is um and how the next question is, how do you know it's spirit and not imagination? Well, for me, spirit messages feel calm even when emotional, and that's usually why I don't like to read with my own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I like to separate that. And that is also where they come with clarity or truth. I couldn't know on my own, and basically like that. So basically, when I am with clients and they say, that's exactly what I needed to hear or no one else would knew that. That's kind of like what I would know, and things of that nature. So, that's kind of like what it is. I'm trying to think of examples of that, but I don't know, at the top of my head, and things of that nature. But I think we are actually going to do, a part 2 of this because I became very, very chatty and I don't want to make this super long, is where, there is definitely a lot to cover, and we'll do definitely a part 2. But just think of this as your part 1, introduction, if you will, and everything like that. So, but if you like this, podcast, please hit the subscribe button, the like button on whatever platform you're listening to this from. And I appreciate each and every one of you, as I definitely, love helping other people, and, where it is, all about helping other people on this journey. So, but this is definitely a lot of part 1. I just realized how much we've been talking, and I could have gone on a whole heck of a lot longer. But I know you guys have things to do, and I have things to do as well. So I will end it there. And then if you would like to submit a question to the podcast, I'll leave the link to that in the description box below. If you would like to also take advantage of the podcast special, the 1010 Energy Angel Messages reading for $40, email me. That will be in the description box below. And of course, if you'd like to get a personalized reading with me, you can always go to my Etsy page at Angel Soul Blessings 777. And then, that will be in the description below. But hopefully you are having a wonderful, wonderful day and a good week as well, and angel blessings, and I will talk with everybody later. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.